to witness history, to be amazed, to be a part of unforgettable moments.
Puts it in, and a foul! Wow!
From the world's biggest stage, this is an MSG special.
Jeremy Lin from downtown! Amazing!
Jeremy Lin, To The Point. Hi, I'm Spiro Ditas. Not too long ago, New Yorkers knew next to nothing about 23-year-old Jeremy Lin. But today in the city and around the world, it is impossible to escape the spirited celebration of his name. Tonight, Jeremy Lin sits down to talk about his overnight meteoric rise from the end of the bench to starting point guard for the New York Knicks to rising NBA star. How it happened so fast and what he thinks of the Linsanity that's followed. In your wildest dreams, did you think that it could get to this level?
No. No, I mean, I've dreamed of hitting game winners. I've dreamed of playing in the NBA. I had no idea it would be like this. And this is beyond my wildest dreams.
Why were you overlooked, do you think?
I mean, several reasons. I mean, first of all, just being Asian American, obviously, you're not going to be able to only prove yourself one time and have everyone believe just because of the way I look. It's going to have to be again and again and again, and there's going to always be doubters, and I'm going to have to constantly prove myself above and beyond. But, you know, I think the one thing that I've learned is I'm not trying to prove anything to anybody anymore. I spent all the last year trying to do that, and it made me miserable. And now I just try to play the right way, and I can live with what anybody says. You know, anybody else on it. Whatever they say, I'm okay with it at this point.
How has your life changed for those of us that don't see it just away from the court, you know, being Jeremy Lin out day to day?
It's just changed overnight. It's different now. People, the way they treat me is very different, and whether it's right or not, you know, that's just how it is. And, you know, there's a lot of people who, you know, are very nice to me and kind to me, and they've seen the Knicks play, and so and then, you know, obviously less privacy.
Is it tough walking down the street these days?
You know, sometimes, you know, I may get recognized or at a time when, you know, I'm just trying to enjoy my family or, you know, do something private, but, you know, I appreciate that too. At the same time, it's like the city loves basketball, they love their team, and how could you not appreciate that and want that from a city who supports your team?
What's been the reaction like from fans, you know, at the Garden, coming in and out of the building, out in public the few times you've had a chance to have some free time, for a fan base that's been so starved for a winner, and now to finally kind of have this star that's fallen into their lap and have the team start to show some success?
I think it's it's a lot of fun because the Garden has positive energy. And when they have positive energy, when the fans come and they come out in full force, we feed off that, and we're just a different team at home right now. And we love playing there, and at the same time, we have to keep things in perspective. We're still 15-15. We're barely in the playoffs. We're barely 500, and we have a long way to go. And so we just got to keep focused and continue to grind this thing out.
There's been stories that we've heard the last couple of days of people who weren't Knicks fans 2 weeks ago, weren't even basketball fans a couple of weeks back. Now suddenly they can't wait for the next Knicks game, get in front of the TV and watch you play. How does that make you feel? I have to imagine that that's wild to have that kind of impact on people who aren't really sports fans, that just kind of relate to your story.
Yeah, I think I'm humbled because I was that same kid watching other people play basketball, Michael Jordan or whoever it might be, and even though he wasn't Asian American, I still remember just, you know, counting down the time until the game started. And, you know, I just hope that my story can help other people and inspire other people to make their own story. And, you know, anything I can do to help, I'd love to. And I'm just thankful to all the fans and everybody who support us and our team.
Take me back to Super Bowl weekend. You know, there are rumors that you could be a couple of days away from being cut. You really hadn't been given a chance. Coach D'Antoni obviously was still looking for the right chemistry with the team struggling. The Boston game was the first game in which you were put in early with a chance to see what you could do. You know, not a garbage time situation. But what was your mindset at that point?
I was just going to try to give my best effort, play as hard as I could. I mean, I had been training during the off season, I felt like I did everything I could to put myself in the best possible position to succeed, and from there, just play as hard as I can and be okay with where everything ends up, and I'm glad it ended up the way it did.
We know that after the Boston game, you were a little disappointed with how you played. It was your first shot. So that night, you spent the night at Landry's, close to the facility, wanted to get to the facility early the next morning. Did you have any idea that was the day of the Nets game where, of course, everything changed and this incredible story started for you? Did you have any inkling that Coach was going to give you another shot in that New Jersey game and that this was around the corner?
I figured he would give me another shot because it was a back-to-back-to-back. And that's, if it wasn't a back-to-back-to-back, I probably wouldn't have played. But, that's the way it worked, and so I figured I'll probably get another chance. I was hoping for another chance, and I needed that bad because, I don't know, I probably wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for that.
How do you explain what happened in that Nets game? A guy who couldn't get off the bench, a couple of days away from being waived, to coming into the game at the Garden of all places and performing the way he did. How do you explain that?
I just got in a flow. I think that's the most important thing. Is everyone is, as basketball players, if we get in the flow and we're comfortable and confident, that's when we play our game. And I was thankful that I was able to do that. And obviously, miraculous timing.
What did it feel like after that Nets game, walking into the locker room? Because you just talked about the doubt, your confidence being down. Suddenly, you got 25 points. Everyone's asking who Jeremy Lin is. What did it feel like after that game?
It felt good just to I played with so much emotion that night just because there's so much emotion bottled up, so much frustration bottled up from last year. And I remember in that game, it just felt like I was breathing again, like liberated again, and just being able to play with the team and have fun. And afterwards, it was just a huge sigh of relief and just a lot of gratitude.
Did you feel like you had answered whatever questions you had in your mind, that you could belong with this team and you could play at this level and be maybe even a star?
I think that was a big step towards that in terms of building my confidence, just because that was my breakthrough game, and there's nothing better than a breakthrough game. And so after that, I was like, okay, this, I can build on this, I can keep getting better, and I just try to take that same approach into the second game.
Take me to the Laker game. A couple of days later, of course, you're still rolling. The team's starting to play well. All of New York is galvanized about what they're seeing. But the Laker game, I think you'd agree, is the game that really kind of launched it into another stratosphere. What was that night like, the electricity in the Garden, and how do you explain what happened that night?
I was just a magical night, to be honest. I was in a groove, and I was able to get comfortable, see my shots go down. And from there, just keep it rolling and keep attacking. And they were tired coming off of, they had a lot of games in a short amount of time. And so they played the night before as well. And so we were able to kind of move the ball and stay space and create.
What was it like a couple of those sequences in the second half after what you had done? Kobe decided to switch on to you and decided to guard you for a couple of those runs in the second half. What was that like? And was there any talk from Kobe? Did he say anything to you on the court?
He didn't say anything to me. I don't think he knew who I was, according to a few interviews. So, for me, I was just trying to be aggressive. I didn't really care who was guarding me. I just wanted to make sure I continue to put pressure on the defense and do my best to create plays. And that was just my focus, regardless of who was guarding me.
Kobe said after the game that a talent like Jeremy Lin doesn't just fall out of the sky. He's been here the whole time, but the rest of us didn't pay attention. He was right under our noses, and we didn't really pay attention to who he was. Did you feel like that? Like you had skill, you had the talent level, but you were just being overlooked at every level that you were playing?
To be honest, yeah, I felt overlooked a lot of times. And I felt, I felt like I wasn't always given the benefit of the doubt or what it meant, whatever it may be. But my family and friends, they did a good job of helping me look past that. And, I'm glad it happened that way because that set everything up for me to be able to come to New York. And, obviously New York right now, looking back, wonderful opportunity. Very thankful that I'm here, and it was just another step for me, and I'm just glad I'm here.
The other night in Toronto, was there any doubt in your mind that you were taking that last shot?
Lin puts it up. Bang! Jeremy Lin from downtown, and the Knicks take the lead.
Once I got the ball, I said, I'm going to shoot this. We were just so excited, not just because of the shot, but just because we gave ourselves a chance to win, and the team willed themselves back into the game. We were down 17, but when it came down the fourth quarter, we clamped up defensively, and we did a great job.
When we return, Jeremy's unusual sleeping habits. So, Jeremy, I have to ask you the question that I think is on the minds of every New Yorker. On Jeremy Lin, To The Point. Jeremy Lin, To The Point. So, Jeremy, I have to ask you the question that I think is on the minds of every New Yorker, in this city as this story has just gotten bigger and bigger, and that is, who has the more comfortable couch, Landry Fields or your brother Josh?
Definitely my brother. Landry's, I was kind of sleeping in the fetal position. I didn't exactly fit, but definitely my brother.
How much fun has this been for you? I mean, you go from obscurity. I mean, we've heard the story now for the last 13 days, the last 2 weeks. What's it been like for you, and how much fun is it for you?
I think the biggest thing is how fun it's been, because last year was really tough, and I think me talking about it doesn't do it justice, but it was just really tough being on pins and needles the whole season, not knowing if they're going to keep me, if they're going to send me to D-League, what their plans were for the next year. And I think I had so much pressure on myself and pressure from everybody else with the media that I had lost my passion for the game, and I lost, the joy of the game. And now it's all flooding back, playing on this team, playing the way we're playing, winning games, and playing as a team.
You won a state championship at Palo Alto High in California. You weren't recruited out of high school. You sent out tapes of yourself to a bunch of schools that really didn't respond to you. At Harvard, you lead the Crimson to more success than they had had at that point in about a quarter century. It's been 25 years. Yet you still didn't really garner a lot of attention. Undrafted, of course, as the story goes now. You don't strike us as someone who's got a chip on your shoulder, but deep down, how much motivation did you draw from people overlooking you again at every step of the way, all these so-called basketball experts?
Obviously, I think it hurts. I would say I don't play to prove people wrong, but I would also say I remember every little thing that happens. And so, I know where I want to go with my career. I know I have a vision for what I want to do with this platform, and that's what really drives me and motivates me. But obviously, at times, getting overlooked will be frustrating.
Do you see yourself as the ultimate underdog?
I can't sit here and say I've done everything right, and that's why I'm here. I really honestly can't say that. I've made a lot of mistakes, and at the same time, I've had to improve a lot and work on a lot of different things. But I think God has used me and worked through me in a lot of different situations, even with my own fears, even with my own flaws. And He's used me in an underdog role, and now and elevating me to being able to play in the NBA. And that's just something where I need to give credit where credit is due. And I think, in this situation, the glory does go to God, and I can't say enough about that.
Where did the faith come from? Was it just the upbringing with your parents in your house? And you mentioned before, there were moments where you really doubted the last couple of years that this would actually happen. How much did your faith kind of pull you through?
Definitely. I think there's times when I thought of quitting, times when I thought of just hanging it up and doing something else, or taking a break from basketball altogether. I had a lot of ups and downs, but the downs were really down. And it was my faith that was just the promises, God's promises of trusting in Him and His perfect plan and His sovereignty that really got me through the tough situations, and my family supporting me. And now looking back, I can see a little bit of why everything happened the way it did, and I'm thankful for that.
I want to ask you about your father, Ji Ming. He moved to the States from Taiwan in 1977, and he said he wanted to do two things: get his PhD in computer engineering and also to watch NBA basketball. You've talked about what a hoops junkie he was, and he basically taught himself the game, as the story goes. What's it been like to have the success and to have your father, of course, and your mom watching close by with all the hard work and the sacrifices that he made?
Well, I guess there's a little bit of a misconception is that he didn't necessarily like try to teach us or drill us because he never had like coaching himself. But the one thing that he always did was he would take us to play. And so we would always play, and then we ran into coaches that really developed us and taught us the fundamentals. And when we ended up playing with my dad, we would play every day. And he wasn't trying to necessarily teach us and make us into basketball stars. He just wanted to spend time with his kids and have fun because we all love the game. And I think that's what I remember so much about my childhood is just spending time with my brothers and my dad and having those family moments where we're all just playing hoop.
What's his reaction been like the last couple of weeks?
He's just super excited, and same with my mom, just because I think they see a different joy in me on the court that they didn't see last year.
Obviously, a huge shout out to all the fans. Thank you for the energy as always. We love playing here.
Obviously, as parents, when you see your kids happy, it makes you happy. And so, I love them to death, and they love me. And so, I'm just thankful that we're all able to go on this path and journey together and be happy and experience this.
When we return, the wider impact of Linsanity. Do you feel like you're a trailblazer? On Jeremy Lin To The Point. Jeremy Lin To The Point. You mentioned the fact that there have been a dearth of Asian American players, Asians in general, in professional basketball going back to the 1940s and 50s. Do you feel like you're a trailblazer in some respects with what you've done?
I think in some ways I'm a trailblazer. I don't really know if I want to call it that, but I think my journey is unique, and it hasn't been done that many times before. And but it's exciting, and I think I like doing that. I've always kind of wanted to do something like this, and here I am, and I just hope it continues, and I'm just enjoying it and trying to soak it all in.
In terms of where the team goes from here, it seems like with every win, the expectation level goes up. Are you concerned a little bit that maybe that's going to get out of whack here and the expectations will be hard to fulfill?
Not really. I think our team has expectations, and that's the only expectations that we're worried about. And so as long as our team stays inward focused and that we have tunnel vision, I think we'll be okay.
I also want to ask you your relationship with your teammates, going from a guy who's at the end of the bench, now suddenly we see in timeout huddles, and you're the guy barking instructions and barking out guidance to your teammates. What's their reaction been like to you now in terms of being this overnight leader?
It's been unbelievable, the reception, how much they've helped me in my transition, how quickly and closely we've bonded as a team. And now we can pretty much say whatever to each other, and we're at the point where it's all open communication. All we want to do is win and help the team, and people are putting aside their egos, and it's beautiful to watch. And as a point guard, you're a leader. I try to make sure I'm vocal, but they do the same exact thing. They give me more advice than I give them. Tyson, Jared, Amari, Melo, Barron, they're always talking to me and helping me, and so it's just a mutual thing that's going on.
Mike D'Antoni admitted that he really didn't know much about you as a player after they had signed you a couple of days after Christmas. They saw you during a tryout about a year earlier. What's your relationship been like with Mike? We know, of course, his relationship with Nash and how that catapulted him in Phoenix. How's the relationship gone here with Mike the last couple of weeks?
It's grown because we've been through battles together, and we've been through games together, and he's seen more of me and I've seen more of him, and he's begun to believe in me more, and I'm helping and beginning to believe in the system and what he's preaching and his philosophy, and so we're developing that relationship, and we're growing together, and that's helpful for me and for the team.
I'm sure you've heard stories about how tough the New York media can be when a team starts to nosedive.
Yep.
Eventually you guys are going to lose. Eventually everyone loses.
Yeah.
Are you worried about maybe kind of stubbing your toe, going through some tough times, what the media reaction would be, fan reaction?
No, I think I'm fine with taking criticism from the media. That's okay with me, and it may be tough for our team, but at the end of the day, we have to hold ourselves accountable to what our standards and expectations are, and not what other people want to say about us. And that's just the reality of the situation. Is if we focus on what everyone else has to say, we will lose track of what we're trying to do.
When we return, the future in focus. How does this story end? On Jeremy Lin, To The Point. Jeremy Lin, To The Point. You mentioned using this on other platforms down the road. That, you know, we've heard talk that, you know, we know how deeply religious you are, that you'd like to become a pastor after your playing days are over. What other platforms do you refer to when you say that?
I think, first of all, is just sharing the gospel to as many people as I can. And I think me being a basketball player in this world, people will listen. At least some people will. Just to what I have to say, and hopefully, you know, what I say will touch them. And then I have a really strong desire to do social work, and having this platform, the connections, the finances, the resources, being able to do all that, combine it, I think it's very powerful, and I think it can be used in such a powerful and positive way. And that's where I'm headed towards, and that's what I want to do in terms of just reaching out to the community and helping underprivileged kids, at-risk youth, and helping them get another opportunity or change the direction of their life for the better. How
does this story end, Jeremy? You know, it started from obscurity. You know, they brought him off the NBA scrap heap, and suddenly the Knicks are back. Carmelo Anthony hasn't even returned yet. You know, that's a whole other story. How do you see this thing playing out?
I can't tell you how it's going to end. I can only tell you how I hope it ends, which is obviously us continuing to win some games and get into playoffs and make a deep run and hopefully win the whole thing. And obviously that's my dream, and that's our dream, the team's dream. But I can't tell you how it ends, but I can tell you this team has a lot of willpower, has a lot of heart, and we're doing everything we can to make sure we win.
Jeremy, thanks. We wish you the best.
Thanks.
And on behalf of Knicks fans, good luck, man.
Thank you.
The rest of the season. They say that the brighter the lights, the more Jeremy Lin shines. Perhaps that's why he's found his form on the biggest stage in the biggest city.